Come on, girl. They're little, they can't hardly fly. They rely a lot on the little nursemaid bees. Alright, we got him. It's a little baby bee. Alright, let's go put her back in the hive. We'll put her on the landing. Maybe she'll find her way back in there. Even though there's like 30,000 of them, still got to love each and every one of them. Like her, for example. This is Linda. No! I told you about that, Linda. There she goes. Now go to that way. I'm gonna get stung over one little bee. Alright, I think she's going her way in there. There she goes. Go! Isn't that amazing? Like, how does she know to go that way? Just a little baby bee, just got uncapped. Isn't that crazy? Nature. It's crazy. Secret weapon. Yeah, some people use like old burlap. They sell those. Ah, God, fire that! It's out of control. God. Don't do that. All right, I gotta start over. Another secret ingredient. All right, obviously, if you're gonna go into bees, it helps to have some smoke. Don't really know the whole science behind it. We can get that going. But the smoke, you spread at the entrance, a couple puffs, and then when you crack the lid, give a few more puffs, and that kind of helps mask the alarm signal given off by the sentinel bees that are at the entrance, that are there to sound the alarm. And some people say it soothes them, and I think really it probably just masks the pheromones that the bees release that says they're under attack or under siege. That really got out of hand while ago. The other crucial thing is have some sort of net mask. I don't know how, but they always find a way to get in. One or two will always find a way in. I think I got a few holes in this thing. I tuck my shirt in because I do not like the gun in my shirt. I use rose printer gloves. They work pretty well, but sometimes they're cumbersome. Don't really need this. This is if you're cleaning off the frame. Cleaning the bees off, it's like a bee brush. If you're pulling the frame for honey, which we're not doing today, we're just going in it. First time spring, this is a frame puller. We're probably really gonna need this because they're probably really gummed up because I've not gone in it and cleaned them yet this spring. This is the first time. And this is just a nice scraper tool to help scrape off stuff. You can also use it to prise open the frame. You'll see in a second. All right. Looks like we got some good smoke. It's always kind of exciting, but also very terrifying because a day like today, the bees are going to be very active, so there'll be like 10,000 bees in there around you, and it's very scary because at any moment you think to yourself, wow, they could wrap me up and kill me. Beehive etiquette: we try not to work out front because they're continuously flying and coming and going. We don't go out there. We try to stay to the sides or the back. Get your hive tool handy. Give a few little squirts at the entrance. This is kind of exciting because I haven't been in it all winter, so I'm really curious to see what's in here. Alright, whenever you take the lid off, always make sure the queen ain't on the daggone lid, because you don't want to take the queen with you and set her on the ground. Those look like really young bees. Alright, we're going to pop the lid. Always check, make sure queen's not here. And if I see her, I'll show her to you. She's a little bit bigger than the rest of the bees. A little bit longer, that is. The bigger ones are drones, male bees. All these are female bees, worker bees, that is. See them sticking their tail up. Whenever you open up the hive, you'll see some of them do that to try to tell the other ones where home's at. Alright, let's go through there. So what we're basically checking for is to see pretty much the status of the hive. We also want to clean off any frames if they're building comb all throughout. We want to make sure they're building the comb inside the frame. So this is a frame, an outside frame that they haven't done much with. So like a new hive, they won't do much on the outside. They work from the inside and work their way out. See, this is what a frame looks like. That is pretty much new. And there's a hive beetle there. So we want to crush him. They'll try to run them out, but they can't get them all. So this is a frame that has no comb on it. So we want to check and see how much comb we have, how much honey we have, how much brood we have. And then when you look at brood, you want to look at all the stages from just you know, an hour to day old egg all the way up through, you know, capped brood that's about to hatch and become live bees. Alright, so this one's got a little more comb on it. It's a little closer to the center. When we got more bees on it, you always want to check, as I said, make sure you're not dragging the queen out of the hive. And then you want to look in, make sure, see if there's any eggs on it. A lot of hive beetles. You can see the honey forming in there. And I got hive beetles pretty bad this winter. So we're going to have to get some traps for those. Alright, don't see the queen, so that's good. You can see the shimmering in there. They're starting to put up honey. So we are in spring here in North Carolina. And then just look in there in the center and just look for little white specks. See if there's any eggs. The queen, to show that the queen's been up there laying. Ideally she won't come up here. She'll stay down at the bottom, which is the brood box. The top box is the honey super, which is what we're in now. So there should be honey forming in these. Alright, this is one closer to the center, so we got to be very vigilant. Make sure the queen's not up here because there's a lot of bees here. First, a quick gestalt view to make sure there's no queen here. I don't see her. Check back, and then we'll talk about what's on this frame. Sometimes you'll hear the queen has a little noise she'll make. You can sometimes hear hissing and talking, and you look for the clumps because they usually clump around the queen. Looks like we have capped brood, which means we have a queen that's laying. All that brownish color, that's capped brood. And you can see some of the larvae there that haven't been capped yet. That's very, very young bees that are getting ready to hatch under them caps. And then you see out here, you can see some of the larvae. They're just still like almost like worms. They are not far enough along the cap just yet. So we have brood all the way up into our honey box. So that means that we have a pretty good queen because she's laying like crazy. We're going to be very careful not to crush our ladies, but they're being very quiet right now, so we don't have to worry too much. Alright, now this is the sad part where we got to clean up. But first we got to check, make sure queen's not up here because we don't want to crush her or displace her. Alright, so now we don't see her. We can look in here. There's capped brood obviously there in the center. There's a lot of larvae in there too. Oh, never mind, there she is. Get a close up right there. There's my queen. See her right there with that long tail? There she goes right there. And she's going around, and she'll have bees that keep her clean and keep her fed and watered while she's out working, laying. And she's got that really long tail. I'm going to put her back down before she flies off or gets crushed. Alright, we want to stay away from that frame. Well, that's pretty rare. With a hive this full and this big, you don't usually see your queen that often. You might see her, you might not. Let's make sure she didn't go over on this frame. Honestly, I probably should just skip to the bottom while she's up at the top, but I don't want to take the top off with her in there. Alright, so we got a lot of trouble on this one too, and same as on that one. I got to remember that D, I need to go back and clean off because it has a lot of comb that we don't want. We don't want all this because it'll just keep getting longer and longer, and it gets messy and messier, so you got to bite the bullet and just tear it off. So now I'm just looking to see what's in these combs. This is old comb, so it's really dark and hard to see. It's the bad part about putting your hive in the shade. there is a queen cell, or swarm cell as they're called. These have to be removed every 7 to 10 days, because if you do not, the queen will leave your hive, and she'll leave these with a young queen to develop, and she'll swarm with the rest of the brood. So we got to see if we can get these bees off of here and tear those off, because we know our queen's still with the hive. So the smoke helps us move them. They're gone. I'm just going to tear these off. Alright, so that looks a lot better. These aren't necessarily swarm cells, but we don't want that hanging off. And there's some live babies in there, but I can't help it. I have to, gotta keep it clean. Be careful here, because remember we have queen on that frame there, and she's probably moved over. Unfortunately, you're going to crush some girls, but you do the best you can. We got a lot of bees, boy. Make sure my queen's not over here.